Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Jay Dudley, and I just pulled up to home after going to feed the animals on the other side, and I was thinking about like how life is right now. Life is really good. Life is very peaceful. I'm not having any uh, uh, type of anxiety or stress uh, with what I'm doing now. The I'm trying to think. Besides this, what was some of the occupations that I had that wasn't absolutely dangerous? Where in the listing of things that of you doing it said, "Oh, you can die." Think what was it? I sold cell phones. I don't think you could have died from that. Well, that wouldn't have been in a list of possible things for you, but I also did childcare for a while, and that wasn't in the listing of possible things that you could do. But everything else that I did uh, in the contract that you signed or whatever, you had the possible chance of dying, whether it was doing electrical work, working for the telephone company, not the cell phone company, telephone company, climbing poles, putting your head right next to electrical lines to get people in service. But uh, my most recent occupation was truck driving, and I still get emails and stuff from CDL Life. I used to have the app, but just to get the news, keep in the loop of what's going on in the truck driving world because I was a part of it for a few years. And it reminds me of just being at peace when I'm on the road, open highway, nothing to worry about, no hazardous weather, nothing like that, just open roadway like how it is out here in the middle of the country. But there have been plenty of times where I have either seen a major accident or been stuck in traffic for hours because of a major accident. And as the line of traffic starts to creep up, then you come up on a jackknife truck or a flip truck. Got a few wreckers out there where they're trying to pick them up. People talking over the CB, wondering what happened, if the driver survived, what caused the accident, and then uh, it was always a not a fear of mine because I would have those daydreams where I would just be zoned out driving, and it would be a what if that was me, or I'm driving along and oh, there's just a car just stopped sideways in the middle of the road and there's absolutely nothing I could do. I actually experienced that in the Super Ho, my car that I had many years ago. I was on I-78 in the express lanes. If you're from New Jersey, you would know or understand that. And then in the local lanes, I'm looking like, why does it look like lights are facing sideways? And it was real late at night. I'm just flying down the highway and I'm looking, and there's a vehicle in the local lanes, and then boom, I see that vehicle in the local lane collide with a vehicle that's sideways, and then they both go flipping in the air. I use my prepaid cell phone at the time to get on the line with 911 to get someone over there. I didn't stop or anything, just kept going. I did not have any medical or first aid knowledge. Plus, I was on another part of the highway, so I did not attempt to go render aid. Not like what I would do now, especially with the training I have from Refuge Training and the gear that I have from Refuge Medical. it things like that were always my biggest fear. I not losing control, because even back then I would do a pre-trip on my vehicle before I even knew what pre-tripping it was. I didn't want my tires to go flat at 150 miles an hour. I didn't want to lose a wheel because my lug nuts were loose. I would always go through that stuff. I would check my brakes. I would make sure that all of my lights were in good working order before I got on the road just about every day. And then for that to become my profession as a truck driver, where you had to do a pre and post trip all the time to make sure that your vehicle is in good working order. But back to articles from CDL life. There have been so many chances, possibilities for me to wreck, where I was just being guided by Yah, where it wasn't all over, and I'm so grateful for that. I've had people cut me off, brake check me, where I thought I was paying attention, and then I'm coming up on slower traffic and being able to slow down or downshift to avoid that crash or accident, or something falling off of a vehicle, a animal running out in the road. Well, I did hit a giant deer before on I-80. I think that was in Pennsylvania, or was it still New Jersey? Not sure. But no, it was near Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, on I-80. A deer was just running beside me off to the shoulder, behind the barricades, just running beside me, and then all of a sudden right in front. And I was like, well, I'm not swerving. You chose this for you, sir. And then boom, 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 and got out. I had to walk back maybe 100 yards. It was dead, and then looked under the vehicle, saw skin and hair and body parts and pieces all over the place. There was a little bit of his fur on my front bumper. I called it in because the truck wasn't mine. And then the police came. Well, state troopers came. They checked everything out, said, hey, you're lucky that you didn't wreck, because up there on I-80, it's roadway and cliffs going down, even though from my West Coast adventure, most recently with the bus, now I know what mountains are. On the East Coast, I thought I knew what mountains were, but whew, wow. Out there in Arizona, it's a different animal. You're looking off the side of the highway and seeing another planet below you. It's just mind-boggling. But it has been. I think that there can be a lot of trauma that most truck drivers don't even pay attention to, because if you focus on it, then America is going to stop moving. There's so much pain and stress of being on the road by itself, to witness traumatic accidents, or hear that, as you pass a wreck, well, that driver didn't make it, or that driver and the 20 other vehicles that were in that crash, they didn't make it. You're just creeping through, waiting for your time to be clear of that accident so you can get back up to speed, get to where you need to go, and hopefully not think about it again. Because it could be very, very troublesome when you think about all the highway deaths, people uh, complain about gun deaths in the United States. It it's not even on the radar of all the deaths on the highways. It's just there's just no comparison whatsoever. If people cared so much about people's lives, they would try to ban cars, trucks, all of that stuff. They but they don't. They think that's a everyday way and part of life. Just like for me, carrying a gun is an everyday way and part of life. Not with the intent to harm anyone else. It's for self-protection of me, my family, and my tribe. But when you're out there on the highway, there with people text messaging, and I'm one that does that. I would text message and drive. My setup in my rig, when I was still truck driving, I had one device with Waze open, one device with Google Maps open, the computer for my company so they can track me, and then another device so I could watch YouTube. So that's how I was going, and I was blessed never to wreck. But people with a lot less going on, not paying attention, not sleeping well, not being focused, having stress from wherever home is, and they're not paying attention on the road, they make a bad decision, and it's not just a bad day for them. That was the last day for them. So, have some respect for people out there on the road. Don't brake check a truck, because if the truck driver is smart, they will crash into you, run you off the road, drive directly over you. Them trying to stop will just cause a jackknife. Them trying to swerve will have them flip. No, don't do that, because like I said, a truck driver should just run you over and have a dash cam so they can point it out. Like, yep, that person decided to brake check me, and I understand that their family is dead, but what I'm carrying would have killed a hell of a lot more people. And people, you don't know that. I was carrying deadly chemicals, and people would still try and brake check me and stuff like that. And I in return would run people off the road, and they wouldn't understand why. But if they knew that any of this stuff sloshing around in there hit the ground, it was burning a hole through it. So let's have some more respect for people out there on the road, and be grateful to those getting you everything that you have. Like, look at everything that's around you. It was brought there by a truck. People don't recognize or realize that the disrespect that they have for people out on the road are the people that support them, that make their life so much easier. So have some respect. Shalom.